Did you see any movies?
Recently,
Yeah, like over the last week.
a weekend, watched Ratatouille and part of Frozen yesterday while we were potty training. And I gotta say, Ratatouille is a pretty good movie. I mean, I like both of them. Frozen is interesting. I mean, Frozen's got a lot of pitfalls. At the beginning, they're like, fear is the biggest problem. And then they just lock up their daughter out of fear, which is the exact opposite of the advice they got. And then she has no friends. And it's kind of weird that their other daughter, Anna, is also locked up, even though she doesn't need to be. Like, why doesn't she go outside? Why doesn't she make friends? Those are some super neglectful parents.
I've never watched the movie all the way through.
You've never watched Frozen all the way through?
No, my daughter has.
You
She's
gotta
watched
let
it.
it go. You gotta let it go of that fear.
Put it on. She's eating or whatever, and I'm in and out of the room, and we're on my phone, just not really paying attention to it. So
Wow.
I've seen
Wow.
scenes.
It won Best Original Song.
Yeah.
It's an Oscar-winning movie. Probably won Best Animated Film that year too.
Yeah, just I have not seen it all.
It's
and I
good.
don't.
It's good, and it has some good setups, and it plays off of different tropes well.
Mhm.
But the initial setup is a bit of completely absurd. How about yourself? Have you seen? What do you see?
Oh, I saw. Yeah, what did I see? Someone two with the whole family.
Oh, that just came out. What do you think?
It was fine. It was
Better or worse than the first?
kind of the same.
Yeah, I mean that's probably what they're. It's a Disney movie that's animated for kids. You want to make the exact same movie that made a lot of money.
I stayed awake, I think, the whole time. A lot of times I
I
take the kids to the movies and it's like a kids movie. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna use this time to maybe take a nap.
to nap.
Oh, I also saw Red One.
Oh gosh, I have a question. So Red One is a rock movie.
Yeah, Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne Johnson's last number of movies that he has produced did he produce this one? Did his
Yeah,
company?
he's a credited producer on it.
Okay. And was the person who has like written and directed his last number of movies the other one that had Red in the title? The one with Ryan Reynolds and
Red
Gal
Notice.
Gadot? Red Notice? Was it the same writer director?
No.
No. So this movie actually might be good.
Red One? No.
No, Red Notice was like filled with horrible flaws and made no sense and was direction I didn't understand. Is
Red
Red One
One
was on par?
I don't really remember Red Notice, which is
It is forgettable. Don't worry.
so it's forgettable, obviously. Red One, it's not great.
So I'm guessing it was fantastical and completely absurd and made no sense.
It made sense to me, but it was just kind of. I mean, there was nothing like it's a fantasy Christmas movie. So
All right. Compared to the Santa Claus, classic Tim Allen.
Santa Claus is fun.
Okay, so the Santa Claus, thumbs up. This one, thumbs down.
Save it for one of those gym sessions. You're working out, you want to throw something on, you don't have anything else to watch. That's what you'd put on.
See, now you're starting to understand my rating scale. You're starting to understand my rating scale. I'll watch this because there's nothing else on, and I'm working out, and I don't want to.
There you go. And I guess with that, we should talk about what we're.
So, all right, welcome to Trailer Teardowns with myself, Evan Bass Zeisel, and co-host Angel Acevedo, where we take a trailer and discuss the nuances within it that make us want to see it or take a hard pass. Today, we are discussing the trailer for the much anticipated Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning.
When the need for certainty is absolute and the odds are deemed impossible, the mission falls to him.
Should he choose to accept?
Actually, it's a teaser trailer, even though it's a 2-minute long teaser trailer. I feel like that's a trailer. Most trailers are not even 2 minutes long or are 2 minutes long.
Yeah, most trailers I think average out to 215, 220.
So watched this last week and then watched this again this week a few times, and I gotta say I have differing opinions from previous week to this week on what I think of it. I enjoyed the trailer. How about you overall?
I liked it. Thought, it's typical Mission Impossible movie. A lot of action, a lot of fast cuts, a lot of Tom Cruise running.
I kept track. There are 4 different scenarios. London Bridge, but that's shown multiple times. Running through a cave, on a safari, but that's actually twice on a safari because one of them's like a runway, an airplane runway at a jungle safari.
Yeah.
And the other one's just in the safari. I'm assuming he's running down a gazelle to jump on top of and ride to catch a plane or jump onto the plane from the gazelle.
I hope not.
And then there's also him running through the street, probably street of London again, because the other one was London Bridge. I'm
Yeah.
assuming it's a street. I have to say, Tom Cruise, as actors go, is a pretty decent looking runner. Like when he runs, it doesn't look bad. I am a runner. I competed in track and field, and it just kills me when there's somebody like chasing somebody down, and it's just like, oh, like Sylvester Stallone, not a pretty runner.
You know who's not a good runner? Daniel Craig. When he's doing James Bond, he's got this weird gait to it. It's very robotic. Where does he run a lot? I think it's in Skyfall. It's kind of odd.
Interesting. I'll have to rewatch.
So yeah, lots of running. Usually it's only like one scene or sequence, so they're just throwing it all in.
I thought this one was very interesting. So I always enjoy the effective play where they have music and it has a strong beat and it's a slow build, and kind of in each of the downbeats you see a moment where it changes, and I think that is a nice way to build. I did find it interesting. You got a lot of action moments. You've got the submarine, you've got airplanes, you've got the keys, you got him running, you got him fighting, but I have to say it seemed like there were similar scenarios shown again and again throughout it. The submarine, there's many different moments on the submarine. The airplanes, it comes up initially at the beginning, but then it comes up again and again, and you get sort of a lot more of these scenes as they play out. The keys come up like 50 times in different ways. In ice, they're holding them. The key is the key.
Well, yeah, because this is a continuation from the last one, and those were the things that they were after, those two keys.
Yeah,
if I recall. So,
for me, it started to get watered down a little bit. But it started to feel a little bit watered down when we went back to the same action sequence again, because I was like, don't you have more? Like, this is Mission Impossible. Like, if you're going to do different cuts, I'd love to see completely different scenes.
I wouldn't want to see more just because you get it watered down, or it's just sort of like played over too much, and then just like there's no impact and no surprise. So I think they show a lot. Hopefully there's more to it, especially the big stunt, the big centerpiece stunt, which seems to be the aerial sequence with the two biplanes. That looks like it's going to be the big centerpiece for this film.
The big hype from the last movie was, there's a lot of things, but I think one of the biggest ones was Tom Cruise doing his own stunt with the motorcycle going off the cliff into the parachute. And there was like some great behind the scenes videos of him doing the jump and like them setting up, and it looked amazing. And then when I saw it in the movie, it was so quick and so, at least to me, like meh, that I was like, really? Like, that was the big hype? I don't know. I thought it was going to play a bigger part in the movie, or you're going to just see more. Were you as impressed by the hype for the actual sort of shot in the film?
That's the thing. Like, what hooks people to get them in the seats to go watch the movie, right? And it's like, that's the big set piece. Every Mission Impossible movie has a big set piece. And from the first teaser of the last movie, that was a focal point. It was featured in it every time. I think, and I kind of got the feeling too, like it did get a little watered down because we saw it so many times. I didn't think it was quick, but it was just like, I've seen it. I've seen it from the TV spots. I've seen it in the trailers. So it wasn't anything new and shocking. I would
have preferred a teaser trailer of 90 seconds and them show less. I do like the voiceover. I think the voiceover was interesting. Actually, was looking up because I was trying to remember. So you have this initial, was it Vin Rames? He's like, the person is a sum of all the decisions they've made, and whatever, in his, deep, sexy voice. And I was trying to think, and actually Aristotle, OG philosopher, said something very similar that made me think about it. I was trying to think of one. I thought it was Pericles said something along the lines of like, you can't judge a man for their actions they're doing now. You can only judge them once they've died, because they're the sum of everything they've done. And then I was looking for that and found the Aristotle quote. And Aristotle once said, "We are the sum of our actions, and therefore our habits make all the difference," which I feel like was kind of a theme of this trailer in a way, especially since it showed the original Mission Impossible moment, and it sort of seemed like it was leading to a conclusion of like everything built to this.
You went deep there with that Greek philosophy stuff. If they took it down to like 90 seconds, yeah, you could, but I feel like that's such a ratio, like 2 minutes. I feel like this movie's probably going to be close to like 3 hours.
Yeah.
So there's probably just going to be so much. I think they showed enough, and I wouldn't want to see any more, just because I feel like we'll start filling in the blanks in terms of the plot. And
Mhm.
I mean, the plot is kind of like unknown, but it's just you can sort of like figure it out. It's like, oh, he's got to save the world, right? He's got to get
Yeah.
the device and do that, deactivate it. But this one seems very epic. Definitely has this. The world is gonna end, and it's all on his shoulders for real this time. There's just so much, and just the build up with the music and the shots that they're using. Just the scale of it looks huge.
And I'm also curious because the bad guy in the first movie is this AI, and it's like, oh, well, we don't want it to get released, but it kind of is already released because it's predicting like fights and who's gonna win and things like that. So I'm curious how you defeat that, right? One of the things that a lot of the Mission Impossible movies in the past, it's like, here's the mission if you choose to accept it. And it like lays out exactly what the bad guy is and what they're doing. And then you find it. Or, in other, I guess, Mission Impossibles, it's like, oh, we find out they put a bomb in this village and do I have to stop them? But there's the trigger and he has to stop the person with the trigger. Well, I feel like this one, the first one at least, was very interesting to me because the setup of the bad guy, it's not a physical corporeal thing. It's AI. It's a machine. It's the data in the machine. And so I am curious how they're going to defeat that. Is the whole fight in this movie going to be like, oh no, don't attach that hard drive to a computer?
There's this big device. I think it's the first shot of the movie, and then you see him again, like pulling a cover over it. I don't know if it's the same device, but this is this huge device thing.
You also saw a helmet, like almost like I don't know if it's a VR helmet or something, or a robot.
That was an intriguing thing. I watched a couple times because it's a quick moment. It's like 19 seconds in. There's like this masked person or thing sitting inside of a cockpit and has that AI glowing symbol on its forehead. What's that about? Is that the AI becoming a thing? I doubt it. The Mission Impossible movies definitely don't go like far fantasy sci-fi. They try to keep things very grounded, but that was just kind of like intriguing there to see what that is.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was very much Star Wars-esque in like Darth Vader being plugged in or oxygen levels and stuff. But it also could be they have a lot of things underwater that it could just be like a, saving him from freezing to death kind of suit. I don't know. But those are the types of shots that I like because you only see it once and then it's gone and you have no idea what it connects to. Well, I feel like he's getting chased and he's running. And then
I feel like a full trailer will sort of like, you'll get more of the dialogue and explaining such and such, and then you'd see a shot that's reacting off of what they've just talked about, right? And then you're like, okay, I'm filling in the blanks there. Like, that's what sucks. I mean, I like watching trailers, but then like something like that just fills it in too much, and you're like, oh well, I know all the beats now.
Yeah, and I also thought it was interesting that with the voiceover that they used, the voiceover was from a number of different characters. That I think is an interesting use because it's perspective from all the different people, and then you also have Isai Morales' character for a moment, come in. As bad guy of like essentially calling out the thing that might be exploited in the movie is like you sacrifice everything except for your closest friends. Though also kind of an interesting twist because at the end of the first movie, the woman who is like sort of a love interest or sort of the one cares about does die.
Oh yeah, Rebecca Ferguson's character, Elsa Faust.
Yeah. And then you also have this idea of sort of part one and then final reckoning, right?
When they announced the first movie, right? We say first, but we meant the last movie. When they announced part 7, which was Dead Reckoning Part 1, the initial plans were like they were just making one movie, but in mid-production, they were writing the movie and making the movie, and it got really big, and they went to Paramount and were like, we need more money. We need to make this into 2 movies to close this whole story out. And so that's why they called the first one Dead Reckoning Part 1, because they were planning to do Dead Reckoning Part 2. Because
when you're Tom Cruise or whomever, you can just be like, hey, I know you were going to give us a few $100 million, but we need a few $100 million more because we're going to make another movie. So just do that. Oh, okay, thanks.
Yeah, so that was their sort of thinking, like, okay, we'll call this one Part 1 and then Dead Reckoning Part 2. The Dead Reckoning Part 1 came out and it was successful, but not as huge as Fallout. And then it kind of got lost in the box office in theaters with Oppenheimer and Barbie. General consensus on it was it was good, but not as great as Fallout. So how do you come out with Part 2, Dead Reckoning Part 2, if like that name, people are going to think, Dead Dead Reckoning. I didn't really like the last one. It wasn't that great. I'll wait, or I'll see it. So they had to like really rethink that. And I think that's one of the reasons why they changed it from part 2 to the final Reckoning. And I think they're trying to build this up to be like, this is the last Mission Impossible we're doing. So you gotta see it.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious if they're going to start the movie with a bit of a refresh of what happened in the first movie if people haven't seen it, which I don't know if I necessarily really want, but I can understand if people didn't watch the first movie, then are coming in, they might get ticked off if they have no idea what's going on. Or maybe they're just using this trailer as that means with all of the references to the ring, or not the ring, the key as being important and everything.
That'd be interesting. They've never done that before, a little recap. And
Yeah.
I mean, and this is also the first time where there's sort of a direct sequel from a previous Mission Impossible. Previously, all the Mission Impossibles have been standalone movies. MI1, MI2. Obviously, characters have come over.
But each one is its own mission, and this one, it sort of paused in the middle of the mission.
Yeah, it did. And so really with part 5, Rogue Nation, although that was self-contained and it was one mission, though the villain from part 5 reappears in Fallout. I don't know if you remember.
I think so.
He's the guy that they break out of prison.
Yeah, on the bridge with the truck, right?
Yes. So
Yeah.
the bad guy from part 5, but he comes back. So he's a co-bad guy in part 6, Fallout. I think the title works. I didn't like that they called it Dead Reckoning Part 1 for the last one. So I was
Unlike Wicked Part 1.
well, yeah, they didn't call it Wicked Part 1. Well, I think that's the thing. I think
Oh, no, it is. No, but it is though. It's in theaters when you see the opening title. It says Wicked Part 1, but in all the advertising they just say Wicked. It's like a
wait,
it's like
did
a
you
bait
see it
and
in
switch.
theaters?
No, I just was reading about this because I don't like when they split movies that should just be tight and a little longer into multiple. That said, yes, I know the Fellowship of the Ring series.
Well, that's different. I mean, I think Lord of the Rings is different because they're individual books.
Yep, except for when they did The Hobbit as 3 movies.
I think Dead Reckoning is the poster child for that, where, hey, we're not going to call it part 1 blatantly. We're not going to advertise it as part 1. But yeah, all the Wicked promotion just says Wicked. Because I think people don't want to be like suckered, like, oh, you're getting paying for half a movie.
I saw, what was that movie? I think it went straight to streaming, but it was about this future dystopia where people, when they turned 18, got essentially this like complete full body plastic surgery to be beautiful. And then it turns out that it actually lobotomizes them as well and makes them completely complacent, kind of.
I don't know that one.
Maybe it's called Ugly or Uglies. Anyway, I was watching it, but it's really weird because it ends and you're like, wait a second, this is not the end of the movie. Like, you're only 3/4 of the way through the movie. They got to the point where like, okay, so this climactic thing and we get over this. And then after this, then you come and you have to defeat the big evil person, but then it ends. And I think that's actually the end of the movie and there's not going to be a sequel. They just ended the movie before it was over. It's very weird.
Was it planned? Did they plan to do 2 movies?
I don't think so. I think this is planned to be just one movie.
Oh, so I think that's different. Wicked was planned to be 2 movies. Dune was planned to be 2 movies.
Yeah, no, definitely. I just find it amusing because like this movie, Uglies, I think was planned to be one movie, but it's this new thing where you just like don't finish the movie. I don't know. Also another one, Alita, Battle Angel. It's a James Cameron movie. I believe it came out in like 2016. I was just looking it up. So it had $170 million budget. It made over $400 million in the box office. They were planning on having a second movie, and for some reason, the movie didn't get greenlit. They're like fighting right now to try and get a sequel done. But that movie ends with defeating the small bad guy, but it's ending by saying like, but the real bad guy is here, this person, and I'm gonna need to go get them. And she like starts, I don't know, roller skating up this ramp, and then the credits roll. Then you get like an after credit sequence where she's like, she does really well in the roller derby. And eventually, we'll maybe defeat the bad guy.
But does the story end in that one? Does the main plot resolve? Because like you have movies from time to time where they're like Batman Begins. It ends with him flying like, oh, the Joker card. But like, that wasn't like a guarantee that they were going to make another one.
No. True. But like, I don't know. I feel like there's also this thing where it's almost like a video game style where you've got the mini bosses before you get to the main boss. And there are these movies where they're fighting the mini boss and then they beat the mini boss and you're like, okay, now you have to defeat the big boss. End of movie. Where, I don't know. it seems like, I don't want to say it's laziness. It feels like you wasted your time making the wrong movie. Or the mini boss should have been defeated earlier so that you had enough time to defeat the main bad guy. Because like, why have the main bad guy? Why introduce the main bad guy if you're not going to make sure to finish it is I guess my issue. And therefore then maybe Alita Battle Angel should have been Alita Battle Angel Part 1, except for there was never a Part 2. I don't know.
Obviously, a lot of these big tentpole movies, they want to make a franchise, right? They want to make a lot of movies out of them, but they keep it open as an option. I think they tried to keep it self-contained. Well, Mission Impossible, this one wasn't. It was written about that. They, in mid-production, got a green light to continue the story and wrap up the storyline. So, and Wicked was planned for 2 movies.
Yeah.
I think going back to where we started with is like, those movies are not advertising that we're Part 1, Part 2, because they want to get people in there. They want audience to like have to like commit to 2 movies off the bat. I mean, obviously, once you buy your ticket and you see that title card Part 1, you're like, oh, I guess there's gonna be another one after this.
What would you have titled the first one? Just Dead Reckoning, and then this one Final Reckoning?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think I would have just done that and just done away with the Part 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. But at the same time, I mean, I guess it makes sense because if it's Dead Reckoning, Final Reckoning, they're tied together. But you'd still get me ticked off at the end of the movie with like, to be continued. You didn't tell me I had to watch 2 movies.
This one, you're telling people up front, hey, you got to watch 2 movies. You're going to be paying for half a movie right now. So I think that kind of ticked people off.
I mean, it also just kind of bothers me, I guess, when you do that, because it's like, I don't know, be better at telling your story. I get it. They're epic movies, but then you got to wait like multiple years before the next one comes out. I don't know. I mean, I'm going to watch it. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to watch this.
What else kind of stuck out for you in this teaser?
As you noticed, I think there's one of the characters that you thought was dead. Pops back in. What's her name from Guardian of the Galaxy?
Oh, I'm gonna butcher her last name. Palm Clementif. So yes, her character survives. I can't remember exactly what happens to her character in the movie. I know she gets shot or stabbed on the train, and she's like,
in the first one, she helps Ethan Hunt, and so then I think Isai Morales' character is like disposes of her or something.
well, I thought it was sort of like reverse of that. She's working for Isai's character, and then she's like left for dead, and she does sort of like help Ethan as she's like dying. It's left vague, and then obviously in this teaser we see her a couple times, and she's obviously alive and well.
Yeah,
and she has flipped sides and is now with the good guys. So that's cool. I mean, on the first watch of this, I didn't catch that before, but then
like, she's on the plane.
She's on the plane. She's walking with them,
plane.
so she's obviously on their side too. So that seems to me like another one of those like in production rewrites. Like, oh, let's bring her character back. And,
we liked her.
Yeah, that's what you do when you're shooting and writing at the same time. You can do things like that. One thing that also kind of like stuck out to me in this trailer that I feel like was very different from like previous Mission Impossible movies is when Tom Cruise is like asleep floating in the Arctic waters at the bottom of the ocean. I think it's Rebecca Ferguson's character, Elsa Foss. It's hard to tell if it's her or if it's Haley Atwell's character. Floats down and kisses him. It's obviously some kind of like dream or vision. It's very almost like ethereal, which you don't really see that in like these Mission Impossible movies. Everything's just sort of like real and concrete, and this has like mystical like quality to it.
Mhm.
Why is he having that? Maybe he's like unconscious. This is probably close to the climax of the movie. You don't really see that in these movies. The only thing similar to in another movie was in Fallout, where he's having this dream or vision of where he's getting married to his old wife again,
Mhm.
and then a nuclear bomb goes off in the background, and he like wakes up frightened. Obviously it's a nightmare.
I love my wife, who I never see ever again.
So like that, they're very kind of similar. So that was kind of like interesting, like that they doesn't really scream Mission Impossible movie.
Well, and they also used it. They juxtaposed it with a lot of people frozen under the water with the keys, and I think it was meant to throw people off of like, oh, maybe Ethan's frozen under the water. But I think that was misdirection.
I can't imagine that's him. Like if it's a fight sequence or whatever, he ends up under the water.
There is a fight sequence near the end where he also is barely clothed, which congratulations to Tom Cruise. You are in very good shape for your age. But it could be tied to that where somehow he gets ejected. And it is also potentially a nod to the first movie where Tom Cruise comes down on the line and can't touch the ground, which they show in this sequence. But similarly, the female character is coming down from above and only kissing him, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It's a stretch.
I mean, it could be he's in a sensory deprivation chamber and he's, out of it, and then the kiss is what wakes him up. And so therefore you're like, oh, he's in this. And that's why you think he's in water, because he technically is floating in water, but he's not under the water. But it could also be just symbolic of waking him up.
Yeah.
Maybe the AI has tapped into his head somehow and she's like pulling him out of it. I don't know. That's the thing that makes certain parts of this trailer, that moment, the moment with the robotic whatever mask, I find the most interesting is when you have moments you can't explain and you'll sit there and debate them.
Mhm.
Oh, it could be this, it could be this, it could be this. Those aspects I think I find the most intriguing about movies, because that's what makes me want to go to the movie.
Should we talk about a little about the big stunt?
You can talk about the big stunt. I mean, he always does a big stunt.
I think that's going to be like the big centerpiece, the biplane.
Yeah.
It looks cool.
I mean, they came back to it a bunch of times in the trailer.
Hopefully they won't milk it as much as the last big stunt from Dead Reckoning. It looks
Mhm.
cool, looks very real. Yeah, I'm excited to see that in IMAX.
If Tom Cruise actually was in a biplane upside down, holding on only by a strap, that is definitely going to be the big centerpiece of the movie.
Yeah.
And I mean, I always love that you always, especially these Mission Impossible stories, and it seems to be each one gets more and pushes it further and further. But I believe the last one, and I think probably this one too, they had to get new insurance in the middle of filming because the insurance company refused to insure the stunts because they were like, Tom Cruise could die and we can't afford to pay out that insurance claim because that would be so much money.
I believe it. One last thing. I like how the trailer ended with his line, I need you to trust me one last time. And it's just build in this sort of like, this is the finality. This is the end.
Mm-hmm,
Trust me. This is going to be a good one.
Please trust me. Just come on, guys. Show up to the movie again. Come on, just Mission Impossible 87. It reminds me of the end of 22 Jump Street, with the ending credits, and they're like 23 Jump Street, 24 Jump Street, 25 Jump Street, 26. It just keeps going.
I could go for another Jump Street movie.
I could too. I 100% could. I enjoyed both of those movies. All right, rating scale. Where are you? Where are you at for Mission Impossible?
I'm there opening weekend in theaters. This is a movie for me. It's like, you got to see it in theaters, obviously in IMAX. So yeah, I'm there. Opening weekend, May 23rd, I think it is. Yeah.
I will do my best to make it opening weekend to this one.
It's a theaters movie. I mean, even if you don't see it opening weekend.
It's a theater movie. No, it's a theater movie. Yeah, I think there are many different types of movies, but the big action movies, you get the surround sound, you get the big screen, especially when you've got big moments where there's a lot going on at once. The bigger the screen, the better it is. I've gone to theaters that had small screens and been like, okay, this is useless. You know, the small theaters in New York, which like work great for rom-coms or, you know, a Woody Allen movie or something of sort of less grander design. But when you get these epic action movies, you need the big screen.
100%.
I saw Dune Part 1 on IMAX. That was a great watch. But yeah, again, the epic films, you kind of need epic viewing environments.
Yeah, I agree. And it seems like we're both on the same page on this one. Theaters.
Yeah.
Regardless if it's opening weekend or not. If you're going out, you're getting a babysitter, you're plucking out money.
And I also feel like this is one where people are going to yell like, oh, people are going to have reactions to the big action scenes too, which is nice to have in theaters.
Yeah, and also like, not that like feel like there's going to be like major spoilers, but who knows? Tom Cruise character could die. You don't want to be spoiled on that. You're like, oh,
Like
he
James
died.
Bond.
Yeah, like the last James Bond.
Spoiler. If you haven't seen it already, that's on you.
Are you watching all the movies before the new one comes out?
No, I might rewatch Dead Reckoning, but I don't have time to watch all the movies. How many of them are there? There's 6?
There are
7?
7. So the new one is the 8th one.
That's like 14 to 20 hours.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I will attempt to do all 7 movies, but definitely for sure Dead Reckoning. If I have to like plan it out, like I'll have to try to like watch one. If I do like one a week, I don't know if I can do one a day. It depends on what's going on. But 7 movies, 7 weeks. Oh yeah, I can try to do 2 a week.
Okay, and why don't we leave this podcast with that question to the audience? What aspect of a movie coming out, be it a trailer or something else, makes the difference between you wanting to watch it just from home on a streaming service versus getting out and actually going to a brick and mortar theater? Like, what makes that difference to you? Is that a fair question?
That's a fair question. And also, are you seeing this in theaters or are you waiting or your hard pass?
All right.
Or are you watching it in your middle of your gym workout?
Oh, yes. So there's the rating scale. I'm going to run through it again. It's top one is going to see it in the theaters or opening night. Second one is you're saving it to your watch list. So you'll watch it, but you'll watch it at home. Third down, the one Angel doesn't like is if there's nothing else on and I'm working out, like I'll put it on. And then the last one is hard pass. No, thank you.
There could be haters. You know, people may have not liked the last one. I'm like, I'm done with Mission Impossible. So
Could be Bill Hader. Boom, boom, dad joke. Let's end on that. And done.